All right, I think we are ready. Can everybody hear me okay? Yeah, good. All right, well, good morning. It's 9 o'clock, so we'll get going. Hopefully, we've got some good stuff for you this month. For those, most of you have been here before. But if you haven't, I'll introduce myself and the team. I'm Sean Bluebaum. I am our project executive for all of the campus expansion jobs that we're doing here, Inspirata Vita. And we've got Todd Ganter, our senior project superintendent, also over all of the projects from an operations standpoint. And then we brought our intern. So we have a fresh-faced intern who's spent the
Fresh
summer with
face
us.
or fresh meat?
Well, both. Uh, so he's going to do a little presentation to you guys on what he's been learning this summer out here helping build your buildings. So his name is Sam.
My name is Sam Striffler. So
Yeah. So
nice to meet you all.
and we're going to get to him with a little more info too in a minute right off the bat. So as usual, if you have any questions, please feel free, raise your hand, shout them out, throw something at us, whatever gets our attention is fine. We're going to show you some pictures. We're going to have a safety share, and hopefully it'll be a good monthly construction update for everybody. So I start this the same every month, and this is the rendering of what we were hired to come out and build. And this is what it looks like right now. So, see? Add that to Sam's lessons learned. So every week he reports on Sam's lessons learned for the week in our owner meetings. So you can add that. So this is what it looks like. Pretty close to the rendering. As you can see, we're getting very close to completion of the buildings. We already have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them open, and it's really moving along. So like I said, we'll start with a safety share. We'll do a project update and some photos, and talk about upcoming work, and then any questions and answers all throughout, or whatever you have at the end. I also do want to mention, last month we did get a question on the ratings of our windows, energy ratings, things like that when it came to the windows in the units. Sharon was very nice and printed out some information that she had that deciphers sort of, hey, if your window is rated whatever, 0.27, 0.51, whatever it is, this is what that means. And so we've got those. She brought those for anybody who wants them to pick up and take with them. So very nice. Okay, so with that, we want to get to a safety share. As always, we start with that to keep safety at the top of our minds. There's nothing more important than our people going home every day, right? And so I asked Sam to put together whatever safety share he would like this month and to do that for us. So with that, Sam, it's all yours.
So to tie into Sam's lessons learned, this was one of my very early lessons learned when on site here. I've kind of grown up working with tools most of my life, so I got a little complacent on the job site when drilling some holes over for the fire signs on your guys' new restaurant, and left the drill bit to cool off for about a couple minutes.
Uh-oh.
Came back and burnt the heck out of my hand. And that's when I kind of realized, oh, with this heat wave that we're experiencing, we kind of have to be aware of burn risks a little more than the rest of the year, especially on the job site when we have a lot of bare metal hanging around. So what I kind of have here is a study done by the National Weather Service in Las Vegas, which was only about 115. And they kind of ran through and took some temperatures of common things you'd find around most job sites and the temperatures that they were sitting at. Now, you guys will notice rock doesn't really get that bad, but concrete and asphalt start to get really hot. And there's been reports of asphalt reaching 180 degrees here in the valley during this heat wave. So it's kind of one of those things of just being aware of what can burn you, and then also on the next slide, how to address it. So most of it will end up being first degree or second degree burns, depending on how long you're on those hot objects. But hopefully it'll never achieve a third degree burn. But there's just the ability to treat it, which is usually running cold water, burn cream, and then either a cool rag or something, so that we can kind of try to stop it from getting worse. Um, so that was just my safety share of just catching the burns, what are your burn risks, and then how to address it with common stuff you have around.
Perfect. Perfect. Uh, Thank you, Sam. Sam's also going to talk about why he works safe. For those that have been to a lot of these, we all have had to make a slide or have tried to identify why we want to go home safe every day, right? Everybody's got a different motivator that defines why you make your choices. So maybe it's so you can come back to work and make more money, or maybe it's because you have a wife and kids or a husband and kids at home, or maybe whatever your reason is. Everybody's got a reason. So I asked Sam to make a slide for his reasons of why he works safe, and this was his. So Sam, go ahead.
So why I work safe is number one, my family. Over on the left side there, we have me in the center, my twin sister on the left of me, my father to the left of her, my sister's boyfriend, my godfather on the right of me, and then my mom all the way on the right. So those are the main people in my life that keep me working safe. And then also on the fun side of things, I want to work safe so I can go home and do what I love, which is I competitively race lawnmowers for fun.
Yeah.
So
And he's really not kidding. He competes and races lawnmowers.
yeah, you would have gotten the lawnmower on the intern video if not for it being broken right now.
Which is a great transition. The final piece that Sam's going to show you is we require all of our interns to make an intern video of what they learned over the summer. And then they compete, and everybody sees everybody's video. So he's got a really short video here. It's got some music behind it. I turned down the volume as best I can on my computer. I'm not quite sure how loud it's going to be when it plays. Hopefully not too loud. But we're going to show you his intern video real quick that he made. Going? I got no sound at all. Okay. Well, imagine there's AC/DC playing. That's... Sam, you can narrate if you want. And Glenn.
And Glenn.
So one of the things you saw is the job site wildlife slide. Just to explain that, we have had 2 different litters of kittens birthed inside our buildings while we've been out here. So that we've gathered up and
All found homes for
yeah,
safely.
found homes. Yep. So anyway, so Sam, that is Sam the intern.
Thank you guys for having me.
Okay.
You're good.
It's a good question. The question was, the temperature readings were taken on gray concrete or lighter color concrete. We have a lot of black concrete out here. And so have we taken any temperature readings on that?
So that temperature reading was taken by the National Weather Service in Las Vegas. I didn't actually shoot that with a temperature gun, but I think safe guess would be that the black concrete is probably going to attract a lot more heat.
That's a good question. I think we should go out there and probably, this
do
is a
too.
good intern thing to do for
Yeah.
Sam, is to go out and measure that
I
now.
think so,
We
too.
appreciate, he's been looking for stuff to do, so thank you.
That's a good idea.
Darren? Not yet, no.
It's on? Okay.
It is.
So just to confirm Sam's numbers, 2 days ago, our landscape manager, Andy, took some temperatures just the same way. 178 degrees on the asphalt, 150 on the concrete.
Yep.
So he's right in line.
Wow.
Yep.
Wow. So, any other questions for Sam before we get into the progress photos? I appreciate you guys hearing from Sam. We love our intern program. There are about anywhere from probably 50 to 90 interns across Sundt corporately every year. For our group here, our building group in Arizona, we get a handful. I think we had about 15 between Arizona or Tucson, Tempe, and El Paso for the building group. But it's a huge part of how we develop our people and keep people in the industry. So thank you, Sam.
Thank
Well
you.
done.
Sam is intern 4.0 out here.
Yeah.
Hopefully, Sam will come work for us someday. Two of the previous three have accepted job offers with us and work for Sundt right now. So it is a good program. We try really hard to make sure these young kids get to learn all the fun stuff that they don't teach in textbooks, and there's plenty of it. So.
And Sam, why don't you also just add in where you go to school and when you're going to graduate?
So I currently am going to the ASU Polytechnic campus out by Mesa Gateway Airport,
That way.
or all the way that way, other side of town. And I'm a electrical systems engineering major.
And graduating?
I will be graduating in 1 year from now.
Perfect.
Nice.
Very good. Thank you, Sam. All right. So let's get to a project overview. We'll show you the drone video. It's not as long because there's not as much area to fly over, right? So we'll show you that. You'll see a lot of, in the video and then in pictures later, you'll see a lot of the courtyard areas and some of the areas where you're seeing a lot of the concrete being placed in activity right now. So there you go.
Perfect. This is the north elevation of Building D. Right below us is the courtyard. You can see all the concrete we've been placing down there around the fountains. And then as we kind of go over the existing fountain of Building F, the courtyard there, as we come around the corner here, you'll see that this is the east elevation of Building D, and we're on to the south elevation of Building D. Nice early morning flight. We're in the shade there. It was a cool time to fly with these temperatures. Thanks for getting us fit in, Glenn, for coming back and doing that. This would be the east elevation of Building, or west elevation of Building D. As we round, right below us is the bocce ball court that we're in process of building right now. So continuing with the site work, as you can see, some of these photos we'll have in the upcoming presentation show some really great site work progress. This would be the north elevation of Building E. We were installing the sliding sunshades there. So we're doing that kind of work. We've pretty much buttoned up with those on that side of the building, and we're coming around the south side now. These couple guys in the boom lift here are putting some window shade awnings on. So they're a fixed window shade awning. And then there's the sidewalk that runs parallel where that piece of equipment is sitting is where the bocce ball court will reside. That's all, concrete's all placed right now. And this sort of flying on the left-hand side is Inspirata Pointe. The right-hand side is outside the fence, and it's Bannerland. This is the loop road around the outside. And then this would be the south side of Building D, and then the south side of Building E. As we fly around the outside, we're still using some of the outside spaces for staging while we're working in the courtyards. And then you can, as we round the corner here, there's the entrance to the parking garage. And the last small little area we have of real estate construction land used up. The rest of it's all landscape now. Trees will be going in here in these planters over the next week, and we're in there doing landscape irrigation, et cetera. But as we fly away from the courtyard, that's building C below us, and we shoot back out over the west, kind of towards the hospital. This view is looking towards the east, and there's the dust.
There you go. Perfect. So we'll get some still shots now. I know that runs a little fast through the stuff. So we've got a group of photos from the inside of building D and E. The exterior, other than what you saw in the video, where we're putting on some sliding screens and things like that. The exterior, for the most part, is done on those buildings, and so we're just working in various stages on the inside. And then we've got some great courtyard pics. So you can see all the exterior is largely complete. We're working on these ceilings right now, and then this trash chute area will be the last part we complete once we are done with drywall and some of our more trash-heavy materials, I guess you would say. It's unbelievable the amount of drywall that goes out of that trash chute every day. So, and we are at various stages of paint and tape, and still some drywall hanging. And Todd, drywall hanging will go on for the rest of this month. About
No,
maybe
not
quite
the rest
that
of this
long?
month. We have about if you include the corridors, yes. But as far as the units go, we've got another 2.5 weeks or so of hanging sheetrock. Will be on the 3rd and the 4th floor of Building E. So all the other floors, we broke the building up just as a for us construction. We have the north wing of D, the west wing of D, and then the east wing, which is known as Building E for all of you folks. So we break them into 3 areas, and there's 4 floors each, so we have a total of 12 floors. We are complete with production drywall hanging on 10 of the 12 floors in there. So we're going through our last ones. We're starting the 3rd floor of Building E today. We finished up the 2nd floor of Building E yesterday. So,
And the reason we focus on the drywall, it's a big deal because obviously that kicks off the finishes, right? It kicks off your cabinets, that kicks off your countertops, that kicks off all the stuff. So we're going to be extremely excited in a couple weeks when we have all 12 floors of units done with drywall. It's a big deal for us.
yes.
So you can see we're painted in here, or in the process of painting in here, taped over here. More stages of painting and masking. So I don't know what floor that is, but we've got waterproofing going on, sort of all over the place.
Correct. So this actually happens to be 1st floor of Building D, the north wing. So we got bathroom vanities going in on the left, our waterproofing quality operation that happens behind or on the substrate of where the tile for the shower is in, and then again another picture of bathroom vanities. But as you can see, lots of little plans laid out for everybody to kind of see, what they're supposed to be putting in for quality, and double checks and making sure this is the right cabinet, the right color in this space. And because sometimes there's 1 sink, sometimes there's 2 sink options in some of the masters. So lots of components for us to manage, but by putting these diagrams up on the wall, everybody gets a better idea of what they should be doing. After a while, some of the rooms start looking the same, believe it or not. So,
Can you talk about, Todd, a little bit about the sequence here with the showers and the doors and the tiles and what happens in those areas?
yeah, perfect, not a problem. So what we do is we go through and we hang all of the substrate surface. It's a tile backer board. And then we go ahead and we will put in the curb that's in there. And that curb is part of a proprietary system by Curdy. And they carry the waterproofing design and warranty for the bottom basin. And then this tealish looking color, it's really a lot brighter than that in the field, but it's a liquid applied waterproofing membrane. So we go through and get all the joints taped and sealed up, and then we apply this waterproofing on the walls, even on the floors. So the proprietary system by Curdy makes the curbs as well as the soap and shampoo niches in the wall. So we go through and we waterproof that system. Then we will go through and put a test ball in the drain, and we fill them up a couple inches, probably 3 inches, I believe, is what the overall dimension is. And we let them sit for 24 hours. And we make sure that we don't have any leaks on the floor. Or sometimes there's been leaks where we didn't tighten the test ball well enough. We've gotten smarter at that. But we want to make sure that their system isn't leaking. So we'll go through and we understand that there's going to be some evaporation coming out of it. But as long as we have the lion's share of the water, because there's a pretty, good slope on it to get the water towards the drain. If there's still water in it, we know we've gone through and tested it for 24 hours of water sitting in the floor. This is all done prior to us putting in the tile and the grout. So it's an extra belt and suspenders approach to making sure that the substrate membrane is all waterproof, because really your primary waterproofing is actually the tile and the grout. The secondary waterproofing is what's underneath there. So we're checking that as well.
Perfect.
So,
Thank you.
you're welcome. All right, more pictures inside the units of painting operations. The picture on your all's right there is we're actually doing the direct applied synthetic finish that goes on the ceilings of the bridge. So this is a view from building D looking towards building E. I don't know if this is second floor actually. So we finished that up. We've removed the scaffold. The overhead ceiling work is complete, finished, and it's beautiful. It's all integral colored synthetic finish. And then now we're up working on levels 3 and 4. And by the end of the week, we'll be done with that operation. And the scaffolding through the bridgeway will be removed so we can have walking access. There will still be scaffolding as you drive by on the outside of the bridges for now, for us to have some couple things, safety, as well as button up some other construction operations, the expansion joints on one side of the bridge as well.
So everybody here understands there's no pictures of what we call it's our C West, but it would be the west wing of the D building, sort of the if it's a U like this bottom portion. There's no pictures of that because those units have appliances in them and flooring and doors closed and for the most part done.
Yep.
So they're being punched right now for quality control. The painters are going through there making sure that there's that the walls are up to standard and all that sort of thing. So those are closed and done. So we didn't include any pictures of them. So this is all sort of the north half of D and E. All right. So this is one of my favorite slides this month because we've got Mr. Ganter right here directing traffic, and clearly this guy doesn't care what he says because he's looking the other way. He's done listening. But yeah, I love these pictures because this is all sort of in action right before we place. So you can see Todd working with the team on elevations and what to do. You can see all the formwork done and installed per the layout stakes, which are here. And you can see that piece of equipment, which is a jumping jack, a plate tamper, that gets compaction on the dirt before we place. Yes?
The question is what is the composition of the material of the bocce court? It is actually I believe it's a crushed seashell. So sandish oyster shell. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yep. I'm not a seafood eater, so I probably picked the wrong component. But it's something that came from the ocean. We crush it up and use that on the course.
Yep. So anyway, the other thing I liked about this picture, and there's another one later, you can see it. You can see how wet we have to keep the dirt, right? So it's got to be compacted and it's got to be very damp, especially in this temperature. The concrete will dry too quickly, right? And that's what causes things like cracks potentially. Now, concrete cracks. That's one of the few truths we know in this world. It cracks, right? So sometimes we can't control it, but by keeping the dirt wet, it does help slow that process. Yes, sir. Hi, nice to meet you. Thanks for coming. So the question is, if your buyers have a new unit, do you get to do a punch list once you get in the unit, or is that done by us as a construction team before that? You want to answer that, Gretchen?
Yeah.
Or-
So our team, our construction team, and our Royal Oak side of the construction team do a punch walk with Sundt, and there is no opportunity for the residents to do their own punch walk. But rest assured, we feel that our quality of our upcoming punch walk will be sufficient. Because we not only have ourselves on the punch walk, we have the Sundt crew, we have our architects come down from Chicago that actually designed the building. Our local architects are on the punch walk. There must be 30 people on this punch walk.
It's a herd.
It's a herd, yes. And so we do the exterior, the interior. It's quite a process that we have scheduled.
Yeah, we'll typically get 1,000+ items from those walks, and I think one of our learning curves has been, as we've now turned over multiple buildings, is aligning expectations. Right? I always say happiness is when expectation meets reality. Well, if we don't know what those expectations are, it's hard to make reality meet that. Right? Sure, we have a spec and all those things, but there's a lot of variables. So we've learned as a construction team collectively what the expectation is, right? And so I'd like to think that we're getting exponentially better with every building before the punch walk happens, and then the punch walk, resolves any remaining issues. Okay, so as you guys are aware, we place concrete at night this time of year, or very early in the morning. So I wanted a picture of the concrete pump, one, because they're kind of cool, and two, because I know that's everybody's favorite piece of equipment out here. It's very quiet.
And just so you know, sarcasm is one more service we offer free of
That's
charge
right.
here at
That's
Sundt
right,
Construction.
free. That's right. So this is an action shot. You've got the concrete truck backed up, feeding concrete into the pump, and then the pump over into the courtyard. And so it's a pretty intrusive process. We know that. So our focus has been getting out of that central courtyard as fast as possible. For the most part, we're out of there now, other than trees and landscaping and pavers, things like that don't take large pieces of equipment.
Yeah. So for the residents that live in Building B and C, thank you for putting up with us.
Yes.
We know these things are not quiet. I mean, I think they're really cool, but I'm not sleeping there, right? This is my job, is to do this kind of work, and thanks for putting up with us. It's very disturbing, and it's very difficult to do, high production work, and it's even more complicated when we know that we're personally impacting people's personal lives, sleep habits, et cetera. So for those of you that had to put up with the noise and the sound and things of that sort, thank you for doing it. We're trying hard to get our job done and get out of your guys' way and build you a beautiful courtyard, but we're chiseling away at it.
And so everybody knows, it's not just the heat as far as for the safety of the workers or any of that. It's the actual chemical process with the concrete that is really affected by the heat. And the black concrete makes it even more affected. So that's why we really have to get it down before the sun breaks, or else we start to have issues with it.
One more tidbit, interesting fact. The other reason why us general contractors pour concrete, typically we like to start pouring at like 11 p.m. or midnight. And it's because of two other factors that some people don't often think of. One, traffic. When we're doing big high-rise buildings and we go through a ready-mix truck in 6 minutes, we like our 6-minute spacing at 6 minutes. We don't like it at 7 or 7.5 or 8 or 9 minutes. We like it at 6. So when there's no traffic, that helps create more reliable outcomes for the consistency of truck delivery. So that's one element. And number two, guys that do residential concrete don't like to get up that early. So we get the trucks before they get the trucks. So that's why we pour at night.
Yeah. Oh, he's right. And I'll move on after this. But those trucks, we have to have that concrete in most cases placed within 90 minutes of when they leave the batch plant, or when the concrete is actually produced. So that's the other factor here. So you can see an action photo. I try to include a few of those this time around. And then you can sort of see as we go from dark where it's placed to early morning where the sun's coming up to a little bit later on in the day. And so that's sort of the stages of it when it first goes down. You can see how dark that color is when we place it, and it doesn't take very long for that to lighten up quite a bit, just from the sun and being exposed to nature before it gets to that color.
Yes, sir. So the question and observation was they've noticed some cracking in some of the concrete that we placed on our very first placement when we came out of phase 2 and into technically phase 3 of our site work package. And is there opportunity for those to structurally shift? There's a couple of areas that we, Sundt, aren't happy with that have had some cracking. And part of the question was also about reinforcing. So the specifications in the documents do not call or indicate or ask for any kind of wire mesh reinforcing or rebar for sidewalks on grade. So that's why there isn't any reinforcing in there. It was not designed and indicated that way. But some of the cracking, there's a couple of areas, there's probably some panels we got to pull out that aren't the greatest. So. Correct. Yes, the observation was under the donut. We still have some of those as well. So we're going through and looking at them. We've got a really basic term. It's called a crack gauge, and it measures the thicknesses of the cracks. We're monitoring those to see what they're doing. Most of those cracks have enough angularity in the fissures there that if they're not slip joints, they're not going to shift and heave. Now, if they start pulling apart, there's that opportunity. But the way things are kind of designed out there, I don't see that as being a problem. Keep in mind that we only have this much dirt from my thigh down until we hit the garage in that area. So there's not a lot of room for vertical settlement there. But we are monitoring them, and there's a couple that we're gonna have to go through and pull out. We're just looking at them to see, kind of learning a little bit as time goes what's happening there.
Yeah, I think to add to that a little bit, all cracks aren't created equal, right? There's cracks that are due to shrinkage or curling of concrete, which is virtually impossible for us to control. One of the ways they do that sometimes is with rebar, like you're talking about, or mesh. But there's also sort of like a surface level crack that has more to do with the chemical reaction of the concrete and how fast it dried or things like that. So that to Todd's point, we're giving that some time to see what it does, so we know what panels we will have to probably replace versus what are probably just a very, very hairline minor crack that over time is going to, for the most part, disappear. Yes?
It's kind of an industry standard in the valley that we do not use a welded wire mesh inside flatwork.
Mm-hmm.
But I understand there's also some times when they use ice as part of the water mixture.
Mm-hmm.
Have you had any discussions about that, especially in terms of small batches that you want to come back in and use some capacity later on?
So the question was, have we gone through and discussed any ice in our admixture? So obviously it all gets hot here, right? And it gets hot way faster here than it does in many other parts of the country. And Sean alluded to the fact that once the concrete is batched, we have 90 minutes and a certain temperature to get the concrete out of that truck, off the chute, and in place. So, which again, why we're trying to pour when it's a little bit cooler, 80 versus 115. We'll take the 35-degree delta plus the baking sun. But our admixtures that on all the concrete we're placing in the summertime ask for chilled water. So at these concrete ready-mix plants, there is industrial chillers that runs. It's got a coil and a glycol system that chilled water runs past those tubes, cools it down to like 34 degrees thereabouts, and we add that chilled water into the mix in lieu of regular, city water temperature that is ambient temperature to the earth.
Yep.
So we are using chilled water in all of our mix designs during this time of the summer.
Yep.
Inversely proportionate, in the wintertime, we ask for hot water and accelerators. So we also did decelerators in our admixtures along with the chilled water. So there's lots of variables, and it's really kind of a neat sort of a chemistry game we play with concrete. So we're in the hot placing months chemistry toolkit right now.
Yeah. And you're correct. The panel you're talking about, I don't think it was down for more than a few hours before it showed some surface cracking. So, yeah, that is one we're monitoring. I know right where you're talking about, outside of the donut there. Okay, so one of the big things we've been doing is placing concrete in the courtyard so that we can build these things. These are big planters. And Todd, maybe speak to the detail of the planter, because it doesn't do it justice just seeing it right there.
Well, the cool thing is this little piece that looks kind of small on the screen is about 310 pounds. So it takes a couple guys to pick that thing into place. Four-sided planters. They're a special composite of a ferrous steel that is designed to patina and sort of create a unique looking brownish visual appearance once it goes through the oxidation process, which is just hanging out in front of the rain and the sun and all that stuff. That's where the oxidation comes from. So the patina finish is what this metal is designed to do. These planters are designed to allow us to put a little bit more dirt on top of the garage and give a better growing conditions, if you will, for the trees that will be planted in there. Keep in mind that all of this is still on top of the parking garage, so the roots can only go down so far before they start running horizontally. So the effort is to try and bring the tree up a little bit so the roots can establish and get down further underneath, which is why these things are kind of sticking up so tall from the walking surface. But yeah, there's a total of 8 planters in the courtyard, and they're these ones here that we're working on are all 10 foot by 10 foot square. So
Yep. And you can see the footing right here. So they bolt down into the footing, and are anchored and then welded in the corners. So pretty stout planters. And this guy's really wondering what to do next.
he's stumped.
Okay, so here is our sort of 3 pictures of the courtyard with the concrete placed and the fountains you can see covered up and the planters in place, the 10 by 10 planters in place. So I thought these were pretty neat. And as Todd said, the trees are coming in next week. You say next week. So working our way out of there. And then I caught Sam in action, so I thought I couldn't resist those pictures. So those are both of intern Sam out there doing something very important, no doubt, and helping us do great things out there. So, and then this picture has nothing to do with Inspirata Pointe, but I thought people might enjoy it. That is an old sewer manhole made of brick that we uncovered where, if you know where all of our trailers and parking area are, we're doing some dirt work there for Banner, for a parking lot that they're doing for their Olive Branch building that opened right next to you guys, and we uncovered that. So I thought that was pretty neat. And then I liked these pictures too. One of the benefits of working at night is we get to see cool stuff like that. So I thought those were really stunning views of sort of the outdoor patio and donut area. And then Mr. Gasta over there, I want to plug his project because it looks amazing. At the hub area, first floor, right? Hub, and he made a board that compares construction safety in 1983 out here at Inspirata Pointe with construction safety in 2023, and the differences in how we built things then versus how we build them now. So pretty neat. Please go see it if you have a chance. And he even included a picture of our team right here. We did have to do a little photoshopping with some people that aren't here anymore. So, but we think we got just about everybody on there. So okay, any questions on any of those? No? All right, let's talk about upcoming. So from an upcoming standpoint, Todd talked about we're working our way into these areas. We're going to start grading here pretty soon within the next couple weeks, I want to say, right?
That's correct.
And working our way this way.
This is a great photo to hold on to. So if anybody, there's a few super keen eyes in the group here have seen this excavation that's been there month over month. We've been, let's see, what's the term? Professionally wrestling with the county. And
It's a healthy debate.
yes,
that's
that's another term. Yes. This healthy debate is about how the gas line that comes in from the site goes down and enters the parking garage. And we have had the opportunity of being challenged on some literal and figurative terms of the code. So because of that, we've had to jump through lots of hoops, and some of them were fiery, but Sean didn't burn his hair, so that's good.
Yeah.
And we got through them, and we're about ready to do this code modification that we've gone through and gotten blessed with. The county has gone blessed and said it's okay to go ahead and do. So that's what's happening. We're starting that work next week. That gas line does go down in the parking garage. It feeds underneath building D. It feeds the boilers for the hot water system. So that's that's one of the things that we're working on as far as upcoming work goes on the site. That's really a key component to us getting some things finished out there, i.e. What Sean was talking about, the mass grading and the site work, hardscape, and then us kicking off landscape irrigation. So want to use this one for what's going on in the courtyard?
Yeah. I want to mention though on that gas line. So that gas line is one of two what I would consider major victories for our construction team. In the past month, one of them had to do with receptacles in the units that are behind doors and not usable, and the other one is this gas line. And so we won the debate on the receptacles, and we got a code modification approved from the county on the gas line. So we're able to go on both those fronts. And we were sort of dead stopped a little bit there. So yeah, we're pretty excited about
Yeah.
that.
We've done enough debating to actually consider ourselves a minor Juris Doctorate in the construction industry.
The best part was Maddie, who you guys met months ago. Maddie sent over information to the county of all the other jurisdictions that approved what we were trying to do that weren't them in Georgia and in Texas and in Wisconsin. And here's an example where they did that here. And here, but their basic premise was, well, you can't feed gas into a building underground. It's true, but our parking garage is the entire thing is underground. So we need a better answer than that, right? So yeah, she and the rest of the team did a great job of getting that approved.
Perfect. Great story. Courtyard work, as I mentioned, we're going to be putting trees in, landscape irrigation. We'll start seeing holes in the ground for upcoming plants, things of that sort. So that's heavily landscape focused as we work our way out of that courtyard and then over towards the bocce ball court, which I mentioned earlier. We'll be constructing that little venue, I call it. So we're working on that. And then as we're also around the outside of the site, you've seen pictures of these booms. There's one down here in the ground. There's one on the south side of Building E. Some of our exterior work is still buttoning up some handrails on the bridges, last little bit of shade eyebrows around some windows, and then the last little bit of operable sliding sunshades on the patios. That's kind of what's happening over the next couple weeks on the exterior side.
Yep. So schedule, everybody's favorite topic, the schedule, right? Including ours. So we've got everything turned over but buildings D and E, and we are, as we stand here on August 2nd, I can tell you we're looking at September, right? That's where we're projecting right now, and that's largely D will go first, and then E will go second. So it is, as I said, this part is largely complete except for the corridors. This part is just about done with drywall and has completed drywall on lower levels and cabinets going. So that area is definitely ahead of this area over here. Yes, sir. I would say right now for D, we are looking at the end of September for that building. Now that's, again, as we talked about in other meetings, that's from the construction side. Whenever you move in is a coordination effort with Gretchen and the rest of the Royal Oaks team. So when we give dates, that's when we think we're ready for the county to say, yeah, certificate of occupancy, that's right. Okay. Any other questions on that? We're getting there. I'm telling you, it's coming along. But
Sean, I do have a question from our television audience.
fantastic.
Yay.
They would like to know how large the master showers are. Do you happen to have an estimate of how large the showers are?
I bet you we could look at that iPad right there and answer that question. So, yeah, we'll look that up. Todd and Sam, that's a really good job
Sam
for
the man's
Sam.
on it.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
We live really close by here, and the landscaping is under extreme stress
Yes.
all over. And the retail landscapers are suggesting not putting these plants in until October. Is that been considered and looked at for when?
Yeah, the question was regarding the landscaping and had the miserable July that we've had weather-wise and the effect that it's had on the landscaping, and if we've considered not planting until the fall. And the answer to that is absolutely yes. There are plants that will not go in until until they're not going to die right away, right? Because that's the condition we're in. There's a lot of plants that just, if we planted them right now, they just die, right? So yes, we have considered that, and there are actually plants on the punch list for previous buildings uh, that have not gone in yet for that very reason. So yeah. Any other questions? Yes, ma'am.
Yes, are the ceilings in the bathrooms shorter than the rest?
The question is, in the ceilings in the bathroom shorter than the rest. Todd, do you want to take that one?
The answer is yes, but I'll be glad to get you a exact answer once my iPad starts working. So Sam's looking through it, and before you leave here today, I'll get you an answer. That most of the spaces, kitchens, and bathroom spaces have what we call as a drop ceiling in there, because that's where the mechanical ductwork and components run. Once you step out of the kitchen and into the family room and the bedrooms, those ceilings jump up a bit. So I'll get you the exact answer to that. I don't want to shoot from the hip. I know I can just about touch it, so I can hit 8-1, but I will give you a more definite, confirmed answer before this is over today. Yes, ma'am.
Another silly question.
No such thing.
The master bath showers.
Okay.
When you face the shower, is the door hinge adjacent to the shower head or the opposite wall?
The answer is, as you face the shower door from the dry side of the bathroom, we'll call it, is the door on the controls.
Hinge.
The door hinge is on the control side of the shower. So, good questions.
Yes, ma'am.
Are there any outlets in the, like, great room or?
The question is are there outlets in the great room floor? Yes, it's about mid-span of the window system that looks out to the exterior.
Awesome. All right. I put this in here, Todd, in case you wanted to speak to. I had the shot from the other side before for upcoming work, so I put this so you can speak to that upcoming work.
Yeah, so we've got a little bit of sidewalk. I don't know if some folks way in the back can't see, but there's a little bit of sidewalk that is not placed here. That's kind of our access area. Same with what we've done on the other side. As we start building the dog park, we've left a little bit out there for access. No point in putting down good concrete, breaking it, and having to tear it out and replace it, because that's foolish. So we've made some access pathways for us. That's the last kind of lion's share of the big concrete work that needs to happen. But other than that, we're going to be getting back in there on tomorrow and Friday to do what we call fine grading. That's the last little bit of really pretty looking grading, as far as dirt can be pretty. We're going to make it all nice and level for the landscaper to come in and continue on with some of his irrigation and be able to start digging holes for the plants. So that's kind of the stuff that's happening from this vantage point. But other than that, there's nothing else really that is worth mentioning that I haven't already.
What about more questions? Elmer. Question was, how many guys are we down to that are working daily?
Too few, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But I've been saying that for 3 years. So we're sitting in the 95 range right now. So we're hot and heavy on drywallers, painters, hangers, tapers, and then we've got probably 15 tile guys out there right now. So we're trucking right along. But we're about the 95, 98 range.
And I would say that that's significantly less on Mondays and Fridays, right? So I don't know what that drops down to, but yeah, we're trying. As Todd said, we meet with the drywaller every single week and have for quite some time to try to gauge the manpower and where we're at. We are we would like more. There is a little bit more opportunity right now than there was maybe a year ago. Housing has slowed down. A lot of these same drywallers do housing, right? So that helps us. But yeah.
Some of the constraints, like I had a phone call yesterday afternoon, and I was talking to the guys that install the shower glass doors, and I'm like, "Where's your people at?" Because I had a whole crew that overcame heat exhaustion in their home right now. I'm like, well, I mean, I know it's warm inside these buildings. I can't fault these guys. I mean, they're out there machines, right? They're working as hard as they can, working 8 to 10 hours a day in this heat. Even with fans blowing, it's still hot air blowing against you. So those are the kinds of things that we've been struggling through. Those guys didn't get heat exhaustion on our project. We've been very fortunate out here. We've got Jason, our safety manager, and the rest of us superintendents that are constantly monitoring guys and, kind of quizzing them on their intake of water and other like electrolyte type fluids. So we have been keeping a close eye on that. We've been very lucky for us. Again, this happened to us with one of our trade partners on another job, but it's a thing across the valley, right? When you have this many days in a row that are that hot, people are going to be a little slower. The production rates are down a little bit. That doesn't help us because we're trying to ramp up. So we've got all kinds of variables getting thrown at us that we are doing our best to navigate.
I will tell a story real quick on that note. Walked in a unit. These guys have heard this story. Walked in a unit, and Jason was asking a guy about his safety glasses and to put them on, and he just packed his stuff and left. It's just too hot. Just midday, like that put him over the top. He wasn't going to work in that heat anymore if he had to, wear his safety glasses, which obviously he does. So that's to Todd's point. Everybody's a little fatigued from the month we just had out there, right?
Great question. So when are the buildings going to be air conditioned? So one of the struggles that we have had for the last 2.5 years is we've been challenged by some county requirements. In all my years of doing commercial construction, we've been given go-aheads from building officials to turn on and energize panels as we see fit as the controlling contractor, with coordination from the electrician, to make sure that everything is safe and all the responsibility lies on both us and the electrician. So that's my past experience. What has been unique about this project is the county has came in and changed all of my past experience knowledge to what they wanted to do. So they now make sure that the units are all done. Like we have everything but flooring in there before the air conditioning goes on. So it means we have cabinets, countertops, everything is trimmed out, everything is ready to roll, minus flooring. Unless it's tile flooring, we can put that in because that doesn't have any expansion and contraction in the temperature delta. But vinyl flooring and carpet are the last things we put in the spaces, and we have everything in those units done before we turn the air conditioners on. I'm just going to default because I'm going to default and say it's means and methods, right? We have means and methods as a contractor that work well for us and have worked well for us for a long time. Those means and methods don't necessarily align with what the authorities having jurisdiction prove or would like to do. So therefore, we go through and we have all of that stuff done in order to get power turned on. I tell you this long story just so you can also feel some of the pain we've been going through. And to answer your question of where we're at with AC, right now we have AC in, let's see here. So D, the West Wing, AC is rolling in every bit of that except the corridors because we're finishing the corridors right now. By next week, we will be having, tail end of next week, we're looking to get AC on first floor of building D North. But then again, it follows the progression of the cabinets and the countertops and everything else. So it's a challenge.
From a reason standpoint, quite honestly, it's overreach. We have lockout tag out for a reason. We've been doing this at Sundt for 133 years. So, but the county, they seem to be using that as their last bit of you'll do what we want and when we say type of thing. So it's extremely frustrating for a lot of people that have done a lot of buildings, and now they're saying no, we don't trust you to do your job that you're professionals at. We're going to actually dictate that. So yeah, there's a lot of frustration there. Well, that's the best part. The question is, do we invite them to come in during the day? Then they come out and they complain that the inspections take too long and it's too hot and it's everything else, and it's so we have learned to deal with them. I think we've got a decent enough relationship. I can tell you, because I just learned this the other day, the Banner Hospital right over there still doesn't have its permanent signage, simply because it's held up at the county, and that thing has been open for how long?
2 years.
Right, 2 years. So there's some bureaucracy down there that is more about cover your butt than it is about progress. And but I don't want to get on my soapbox about that. But anyway, but we're dealing with it. That's our job. right? And so Todd and the team have done a really good job of fostering a relationship with those guys, and we just work through it.
We may not be on the Christmas card list, but we're going to get done.
Yeah. You got an answer over there?
Yeah, the answer is for the question about the size of the master shower. Thank you, Sam. We are looking as about 3 foot on the inside by 5'8", so 36 by 68 inches.
And then also on the height of those ceilings, it is 7'10".
7'10"? Okay,
You've shrunk.
I must have.
So, okay, great questions. What else? Nothing's a silly question, so that's what we're here for. So, if you got anything. All right, well, don't forget about the if you want some window information, I'll pull this up here and people can grab it. And if there's nothing else, that's all we've got for our construction update today. Appreciate you guys coming.
Thank you.